Travis, my good soul, still suffering. Still not able to get some sleep tonight. So, as the church responded to my video, as I suspected, they didn't wait for a couple of weeks or till conference. They waited till Friday night after their meeting on Thursday, as they had the church news post a little thing about church history and the witnesses of the Book of Mormon. Now, if you don't understand the legal system in regards to witnesses, the courts are not about, well, we have more witnesses than the defendant, so therefore the defendant loses. That's not how it works. It's not an opinion where you have witnesses on both sides and then the jury decides, well, I kind of like the witnesses for the prosecution or the defense. That doesn't work either. It's not an opinion thing. You're trying to establish crime, and the primary purpose of prosecution is to present evidence, physical evidence, and not to rely on witnesses which can be paid to lie or just make accusations. We have in our day cancel culture, where people just throw out accusations and keep pushing and pushing until they destroy somebody's life. This is not the justice system for justice. Evidence is required. So, currently, Cuomo, if he did a crime, then yes, there needs to be evidence presented in a trial, and he needs to be punished. He's not supposed to be forced to confess to something if he didn't do it. He's not supposed to resign for something he didn't do. If he did it, you take him to court. You find him guilty by presenting the evidence. Okay? So the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is founded by Brigham Young. And as such, warm water. And as such, none of them from Brigham's organization knew anything about the history except what Joseph Smith had written. Now, if you're unaware, the church has now done what's called the Joseph Smith Papers. They've published them into books, they've got it online, and they no longer publish the Joseph Smith history volumes. The reason why is because Willard Richards tampered with them, altering them, and thus, with the pressure from church historians who've been excommunicated and fired from BYU, it was necessary to all of a sudden say, oh, look, we found the original documents of Joseph Smith. Let's control the publication of them in our presentation. Yes, they're controlling the information. You have to keep digging with what they put out. For example, Joseph Smith never had the name of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Nope, that's a change made in the Doctrine and Covenants. Because the church then claims, oh, well, that's what he had meant to put in there, And so we're just updating it to what it needs to be. Same with Moroni instead of Nephi. We're just correcting the information. Church just keeps covering up and lying and will not present us with the truth. I mean, at the most, they should keep it as Nephi, and then they can't really put a footnote in it. They just need to leave it as Nephi. Sorry. But anyway, Harmony, Pennsylvania is how the church is using the history to double down in regards to the witnesses of the Book of Mormon and the Susquehanna River, as Mormons believe that's harmony. And so we start with section 3. This is the very first record of the Smiths, and it's July 1828. So this is not the 1838 version of the church history. This is a separate document that was put in the Book of Commandments in 1833 and then put in the Doctrine and Covenants in 1835. And so it says, revelation given to Joseph Smith the prophet at Harmony, Pennsylvania, July 1828. Now I showed you where Harmony is. It's north of Pittsburgh. It's not Susquehanna River. It's in between Ohio, where Sidney Rigdon was, and the Manchester farm, where the Smiths moved to from Palmyra in 1818, after Smith Sr. became a Master Mason of the Canandaigua Lodge. It is essential to know your geography and to know historical events and when they occurred. And so this was July 1828. But it's section 3. The very first document is section 3. See how the Brighamite Church is purposely putting scriptures in specific order, not in chronological order? This is the loss of the 116 pages. And where does he call him a wicked man? We've all been taught in the church now that it wasn't Martin Harris who lost them. It was his giving them to his wife. And his wife was the one who was all excited and wanting proof to show it to her club, social club. Well, where was she? Because Martin Harris is with Joseph Smith in Harmony. Where is she? She's in Palmyra, where where Martin Harris lived on the farm. Joseph Smith knew Martin Harris previous to this 1828. He had worked, when they moved to Palmyra, Smith Jr. got a job working for Martin Harris on his farm. And that's where Martin Harris learned about the hat trick with the rocks in it. Because Joseph would play tricks with Martin Harris on his farm, purposely hiding things from Martin Harris, And then Joseph would then say, hey, look what I can do. I can find your lost item. Ah, there it is. So, Joseph the little trickster. So Martin Harris was already known to the Smiths by this process. They're in the process of writing a book. They need someone to publish the book. They don't have the money to publish. They need someone to publish. They know Martin Harris. Martin Harris knows Joseph plays with rocks in a hat. Now, I'm not giving you all the information. I've already given you the information. On my homepage, you can see the Real LDS History section of playlists. This video will be added to those playlists. Okay. And so, instead of working on the Manchester farm, Joseph takes Martin Harris to Harmony. Now, the way the history in 1838 tells us, it's because people are trying to steal the plates. But there's other things involved here. And so, July 1828. Now, if we go to section 4, it says February 1829 at Harmony, Pennsylvania. Now, this was Bruce R. McConkie who put in these chapter headings. Remember that. The chapter headings were not in the originals. And so, neither was the 1 through 4, 5 through 6, and 7. That was all added for the 1981 edition. And yet, here, Bruce R. McConkie is saying Joseph Smith is still there after the debacle at Harmony, Pennsylvania, north of Pittsburgh. Almost a year later. So then we go to section 10. Section 10 is the second scripture written by the Smiths. Notice it only says the summer of 1828. Well, July was the summer. And so, it's not too long after this. But Bruce R. McConkie apparently doesn't know the date of when this second one was written. Oh, man. And so this is the plans for the continuing of the book. We are led to believe that Junior had lost his ability to translate with the Urim and Thummim, or rocks in his hat, or revelation as the church now calls it, the gift and power of God. And Martin Harris is still being called a wicked man. And talking about how the devil is trying to destroy the work of the book. Alright, let's see if I can find anything else, because he just goes on and on about the evils of possessed by Lucifer. Oh, man. And so, yeah, he talks about the plates of Nephi. So the small plates, which were in Egyptian, not Reformed Egyptian. Those are going to be the replacement. And so it just happens to have Tree of Life dreams, similar to Smith Sr., as well as Jewish mystical writing, as Smith Sr. was involved in with the New Israelites in Vermont, a Congregationalist Christian variation of churches. They're with the Cowdreys even. And who helps after Martin Harris? Oh, Oliver Cowdery. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Let's try to work. Okay. Build my church. Other sheep. Bring to light. Okay. So there we have it. And again, 11. Harmony, Pennsylvania. May 1829. Are we sure? Alright, let's get to the Joseph Smith history now. Oh, I'm in such pain. Okay. After this spring of 1820 vision, remember 1820 is before 1828, he says, some few days after I had this vision, I happened to be in the company with one of the Methodist preachers. What is a Methodist preacher doing in, forgetting the name of the place, Palmyra, not Mendon. God, so frustrating. Manchester. God. Wasting your time. Now, Methodists have a place in Harmony, Pennsylvania. Did you know that? Which religion were the Hales? Emma Hales? Her parents? They were Methodist. So we're seeing Methodist for the Hales in Harmony, Pennsylvania. Well, Joseph is still in Manchester, right? This is 1820, right? He hasn't gone to work with Josiah Stoll in the silver mine where he has to stay with Emma and her parents in their house. Not yet. What's going on? What's a Methodist preacher doing out of his area? Why would they even go to Manchester or Palmyra? They have Pittsburgh where they can get supplies if they need them. The Methodists settled in America in Harmony, Pennsylvania. That's Methodist country. It's a Methodist town where they were able to worship their religion in their own community. The Hales were a part of that community. And so here Joseph is in 1838 saying that, oh yeah, by the way, in 1820, God and Heavenly Father visited me. I know I never told you about it before, but I'm telling you now. And now, after he's had this, he's talking with a Methodist preacher. And the Methodist preacher says that he treated my communication not only lightly, but with great contempt, saying it was all of the devil, that there were no such things as visions or revelations in these days, that all such things had ceased with the apostles, and that there would never be any more of them. If you don't know church history, because the church isn't telling us, you will not know that when the 116 pages went lost by the wicked man, Martin Harris, who was supposed to pay for the book, and he does eventually at the end, that Smith Jr. and Emma elope, and they have a child, and that child dies right as the 116 pages are destroyed by Martin Harris, the wicked man. The Smiths, Junior and Emma, tried to seek consolation with their Methodist church. So Joseph tried to attend the Methodist church. We have it on record. The Methodists kept records. Isn't that amazing? Oops. Evidence is going to be the downfall of the church. Not Joseph, the church. This is code. And the reason why the Methodists said, we don't want you in our church, is because of a certain incident that occurred on the 20th of March, 1826. And I will put that picture in for you now. Joseph Smith had been arrested for glass looking, a misdemeanor crime costing him $2.68. Methodists wanted nothing to do with somebody who has visions and revelations with rocks in a hat. That's the rest of the story here. And so the Methodists had to they kicked Joseph Smith not only out of their church, but he can't belong in Harmony, Pennsylvania anymore. He has to leave. And so Emma has to go with them. And the Hales, Mr. and Mrs. Hales, have to go too. They don't want their kind in their town. So, do you think Mr. Hales likes Joseph? No. And so, as we go on here, there's Moroni. See, the plates are in Manchester at the Hill Cumorah, right at the edge of the town where their farm is. And yet, instead of working on it at the farm with Martin Harris, they go all the way to Harmony. Well, the 116 pages, death of their child, kicking out of Harmony. They're not allowed in Harmony. We just saw Bruce tell us a year later they're in Harmony still. Yeah, convenient to the village of Manchester, Ontario County, New York, stands a hill of considerable size. Alrighty. And told to go there. He's told to go to the Manchester Farm Hill every year in September. An angel from outer space, or from the other dimension of the spirit world, he's resurrected, supposedly. And yet, okay, so, Alvin dies in 1823. Just after the supposed first visit. In October 1825, this is where he joins up with Josiah Stoll. It says he lived in Chenango, New York. But he had heard that there was a silver mine by the Spaniards in Harmony, and remember, this is 1838. Harmony, Susquehanna County, state of Pennsylvania. Harmony? There's only one Harmony, and it's north of Pittsburgh. And thus, where the Methodists are, thus where the Hales are, because this is where he elopes with Emma. And he gets arrested by the nephew of Josiah Stoll, who takes him to Bainbridge County Court, where Emma and Joseph later, elope. And yet Joseph is able to still go back and work for Josiah Stoll at looking for the silver mine, looking for silver in the silver mine. 18 January 1827, we were married, while I was yet employed in the service of Mr. Stoll. And so the death of their child was after he was born, and a few months old. So, kind of sad. And yet, despite being in harmony, living in harmony with his new wife, knocking her up real quick, he is going back every September to Manchester. And you can say, well, visiting the parents, his parents, you'd think that they would have been involved, but no, it was an elope. They eloped. But they don't talk about, Joseph does not talk about being arrested. He does not include that in here in his 1838 history. And he's not talking about rocks in a hat before time, because he obtains them in 1827, supposedly. But he got arrested in 1826 for using his Urim and Thummim, not one rock, two, and had to pay $2.68. That's a court document. That's evidence. That needs to correct the history if it's supposed to be a correct history. It's code. Alrighty. Okay, Mr. Harris was a resident of Palmyra. Why are you taking him to Harmony? And then Charles Anton, see, he wants to be involved. He wants to see the plates. And so Junior takes him away from the farm to Harmony. What's going on at the farm? And oh yeah, I should show you the linguistic science in regards to who made the Book of Mormon. I've already talked to you about Smith Sr. Replacing the 116 with his Jewish mystical dreams and other scriptures. Let's see. And so, yeah, Charles Anton. Now, wouldn't it be interesting if Charles Anton had just recently published or had republished another edition of a book of classical ancient names? And wouldn't it be interesting that those just happened to be in the Book of Mormon? Why, yes, Travis. Yes, that would. Yeah, it is, and it did. Okay. And so, now we're back to 1829 with Oliver Cowdery. There's a whole part missing about Section 3. What happened? Let's see. Trying to find where he was told to move. Yeah, leaving. There it is. He says that the persecution... Okay. Yeah, getting the plates. So he gets the plates. And because of the falsehoods about my father's family and about myself, if I were to relate 100th part of them, it would fill up volumes. Well, we're missing a whole Section 3 here. The persecution, however, got so intolerable that I was under the necessity of leaving Manchester. He was in Harmony. Now he's leaving Manchester? What's going on? What is missing here? And going with my wife to Harmony? Nope. Susquehanna County. Where's Harmony? In the state of Pennsylvania. See what happened here? Joseph Smith is not telling us. What had happened is they got kicked out of Harmony. Junior went back to Manchester. Martin Harris is back to Palmyra. And now they have to figure out what to do. Joseph Smith is banished from the project, as he is now sent to Susquehanna County, which was just south of Bainbridge, over to the east, right across the border there. And he's no longer involved in the project. Daddy's taking over. Daddy redoes the 116 pages. As I will show the authorship of the Book of Mormon, you'll see Sidney Rigdon blew through most of it. You'll see Oliver Cowdery. He's in charge of Alma chapter 32, which is Mormon doctrine on faith. Alma and Amulek in their mission service to the Zoramites. And so Junior is no longer involved until it's finished. And so Junior was never involved. As I've told you guys before, what happened was that Sidney Rigdon writes it. Manuscript pages are delivered to Joseph Jr., most likely by Oliver Cowdery. And he then pretends to Martin Harris that he's translating from plates. Martin Harris assumes that it's his rocks in a hat trick. There's a curtain, so Martin Harris can't see. And then Martin Harris is uncomfortable. And I've told you, it involves the Knights Templar of the York Rites Masons and all that stuff. Because in September 1826, all hell breaks loose in America, as William Morgan, who goes to Canandaigua, New York, where Senior is a master mason, and tells him that he's writing a book by the Batavian Press to expose the Illuminati that have infiltrated the Scottish Rites Masons. He then is constantly getting arrested, unable to complete the work. He's then taken out of the country. He disappears. Chaos ensues, as everybody suspects foul play by Masons in general. And then the Smiths now are in the process of writing a book themselves. See how that works? These are facts the church does not want you to know. And they are purposely putting up incorrect information to trigger Mormons to stick to what they tell you to believe in. That David Whitmer is a witness, and therefore as a witness, their version must be true over the facts. By the mouth of 2 or 3 false witnesses shall every truth be denied. So let me put in the pictures for you, the authorship, and we'll go from there.